Identify P, Q, and R in the following balanced reaction. These are the options. Let's start with option A and assume P as 2. That means we have 2 lead, 4 nitrogen and 12 oxygen molecules. On the right hand side, these are 1, 1 and 5 respectively. Let's first balance nitrogen. So R would become 4. On right hand side, we now have 1, 4 and 10 respectively. Now lead is still 1, so Q would be 2. Everything is balanced now. So option A is the correct option. Match column 1 with column 2 and select the correct option. These are the options. First is a metal that forms amphoteric oxides. Now, amphoteric oxides are oxides that can act as both acids and bases. They can neutralize both acids and bases and dissolve in water to form alkaline solutions. They can act as an acid with a base and a base with an acid, neutralizing the other and producing the salt. For example, zinc oxide, aluminium oxide, lead oxide, etc. So that means aluminium can be the right option for option A. Thus, we can eliminate options A and C. Next is very easy, a metal which melts when kept on our palm. Gallium is a metal that melts when held in your palm, and that is because it has a low melting point of 29.8 degrees Celsius, which is lower than the temperature of the human body, which is around 37 degrees Celsius. Thus B matches with 1, and thus option B is correct. We have our answer, but let's quickly see part C and D also. A metal that reacts with nitric acid. Manganese reacts with very dilute nitric acid to produce hydrogen gas. Lastly, a metal which cannot displace hydrogen from acids. The reactivity series is a list of metals in order of decreasing reactivity. Metals that are more reactive than hydrogen can displace hydrogen from acids. And of course, metals that are less reactive than hydrogen cannot displace hydrogen from acids. Metals like gold. So option B is the correct option. The solution in the given figure is likely to be which of the given options? The figure shows that the bulb does not glow, and we need to find the possible solution that is there in the beaker. When would the bulb not glow? Well, when the solution is a non-electrolyte, meaning it does not contain ions because ions carry an electric current. When there are no ions, the flow of electricity through the circuit would not be possible and hence the bulb would not lighten up. Now this can happen in two cases, when using pure water or when using solutions like ethanol, as they don't readily dissociate into ions, while all other given solutions readily dissociate. So the correct answer is option B, ethanol. An aqueous solution A turns the phenolphthalein solution pink. On addition of an aqueous solution B to A, the pink color disappears. Which of the following statement is true for the solutions A and B? A is strongly basic and B is a weak base. A is strongly acidic and B is a weak acid. A has a pH greater than 7 and B has a pH less than 7. Or A has a pH less than 7 and B has a pH greater than 7. Phenolphthalein solution turns pink in basic solutions. That means A lies in the pH range above 7. On adding solution B, the pink color disappears. If it has a pH less than 7, then the pH of the final solution will decrease. Hence, option C is correct. An aqueous solution A turns the phenolphthalein solution pink. On addition of an aqueous solution B to A, the pink color disappears. Which of the following statement is true for the solutions A and B? A is strongly basic and B is a weak base. A is strongly acidic and B is a weak acid. A has a pH greater than 7 and B has a pH less than 7. Or A has a pH less than 7 and B has a pH greater than 7. Phenolphthalein solution turns pink in basic solutions. That means A lies in the pH range above 7. On adding solution B, the pink color disappears. If it has a pH less than 7, then the pH of the final solution will decrease. Hence, option C is correct. The electronic configuration of three elements X, Y and Z are: X is 287, Y is 282 and Z is 28. Which of the given options is correct? Now, the electronic configuration of X is 287. Atomic number is 17. So the element is chlorine. Valence electrons are 7 and valency is 1. It needs one electron to get octet configuration. As it is accepting an electron, it is a non-metal. Now, electronic configuration of Y is 282. This configuration indicates an element with two valence electrons in its outermost shell, which is a characteristic of most metals, particularly alkaline earth metals like magnesium. Now the last one is Z with an electronic configuration of 28. This configuration represents a full outer shell with 8 electrons, which is a very stable state for an atom. Elements with a full outer shell, like neon with the configuration of 2,8, are categorized as noble gases and are non-metals. Thus, option C is correct. Which of the following is an endothermic reaction? Endothermic reaction is a reaction that absorbs energy from its surroundings, usually in the form of heat. First is burning of candle. This reaction releases heat and light. So this is an exothermic reaction. Next is cooking of food. This reaction involves heat transfer from external sources like cooking gas. While this is an endothermic reaction, but it is not absorbing energy from its surroundings. Next is decomposition of vegetable matter. This is an endothermic reaction as energy is being absorbed from the surroundings. So option C is correct. Let's quickly see option D too. Well, it is again an exothermic reaction. During cellular oxidation of glucose, ATP is produced along with formation of other products in this reaction. Which of the following events is associated with production of maximum ATP molecules per molecule of glucose during this process? Synthesis of which of the given options? The process that generates the most ATP per glucose molecule is aerobic respiration, which involves the complete breakdown of glucose to carbon dioxide and water in the presence of oxygen. Thus, synthesis of carbon dioxide in human cells, option D, is the correct answer. Please note that option A and B represent anaerobic processes, which produce significantly less ATP than aerobic respiration. During which of the following stages of circulation of blood in a normal human being, the oxygenated blood is pumped to all parts of the body? These are the options. Well, oxygenated blood is pumped to all parts of the body during the contraction of the left ventricle, also known as systole. The left ventricle pumps oxygenated blood into the aorta, which then distributes it to the rest of the body. Thus, option B is correct. Which of the following adaptations in herbivores helps in digestion of cellulose? Cellulose is a major component of plant cell walls. It's more difficult to digest than the protein and fat-rich tissues that carnivores eat. The longer small intestine provides more surface area and more time for the breakdown and absorption of nutrients from plant material, including cellulose. Thus, option D is the correct answer. Please note that herbivores also have special enzymes to digest polysaccharides and mutualistic gut flora made up of bacteria and protozoans that help to degrade cellulose. There was a cerebellar dysfunction in a patient. Which of the following activities will get disturbed in this patient as a result of this? The cerebellum is a part of the brain that controls motor skills, including balance, posture, and coordination. Thus, in case of a cerebellar dysfunction in a patient, his posture and balance would get disturbed. So, option C is correct. In snails, individuals can begin life as male, and depending on environmental conditions, they can become female as they grow. This is because which of these options? Snails can change their sex based on environmental factors, which means that their sex isn't solely determined by their genes but can be influenced by their surroundings throughout their life. This phenomena is called sequential hermaphroditism. Neither male nor female snails have a dominant genetic makeup in this scenario, as the ability to change sex is not based on a single dominant gene. Thus, the correct option is option D. Sex is not genetically determined in snails. In the following cases, a ray is incident on a concave mirror. In which case is the angle of incidence equal to 0? These are the cases. The angle of incidence is defined as the angle between the incident ray and the normal to the surface at the point of incidence. For a concave mirror, the normal at any point on the mirror surface is the line passing through the center of curvature. When a ray is incident along the normal, that is, along the line passing through the center of curvature, the angle of incidence is 0 because the incident ray is parallel to the normal. Thus, option B is correct. Choose the correct option for the color of rays for A and B. When white light disperses through a prism, the colors separate based on their wavelengths, with violet having the shortest wavelength and bending the most, while red has the longest wavelength and it bends the least. So, in a diagram where ray B is closer to the base of the prism and ray A is further from the base, ray A would be red and ray B would be violet. Thus, option C is correct. Identify the incorrect statement. The energy available to the producers is maximum because which of the given options? Producers, like plants, are the first trophic level and capture the most energy directly from sunlight through photosynthesis. When energy moves through trophic levels, a significant portion is lost as heat during the metabolic processes, meaning only a small percentage is passed on to the next level. Producers transfer only about 10% of the light energy they capture to the next trophic level, which means that option A, B and D are correct, whereas option C is incorrect. Which of the following is not a role of decomposers in the ecosystem? Decomposers are organisms that break down dead organisms and waste, which helps replenish soil and recycle nutrients. They are important for the ecosystem because they help make room for new life. Their main role lies in the natural replenishment of soil, waste decomposition, and breakdown of dead remains. However, enrichment of oxygen in the atmosphere is not a role of decomposers in an ecosystem. Assertion is, on adding dilute HCl to test tube containing a substance X, a colourless gas is produced which gives a pop sound when a burning matchstick is brought near it. Reason is, in this reaction, metal X is displaced by hydrogen. Which of the given options is true? Let's first understand the reaction. When a metal reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid, it displaces hydrogen ions from the acid. The gas produced is hydrogen, which is colourless and odourless. When ignited with a flame, hydrogen gas produces a popping sound. This noise is not produced by any other gas. Thus, we can say A is true but R is false. Assertion is, the number of chromosomes in a cell and in a germ cell is not the same in species. Reason being, when two germ cells combine, they restore the number of chromosomes in a species. Which of these is correct? Germ cells like sperm and eggs are haploid, which means they contain half the number of chromosomes as somatic cells. Somatic cells, on the other hand, are diploid. They contain two sets of chromosomes, one from each parent. When two germ cells combine during fertilization, they restore the diploid number of chromosomes in the offspring. For example, in humans, somatic cells have 46 chromosomes, while germ cells have 23 chromosomes. When an egg and a sperm fuse, they form a diploid zygote with 46 chromosomes. Thus, option A is correct. Assertion is, a convex mirror always forms an image behind it, and the image formed is virtual. Reason being, according to the sign convention, the focal length of a convex mirror is positive. Convex mirror is a spherical mirror that bulges outward. When parallel light rays hit a convex mirror, they reflect and spread out. The reflected rays appear to come from a point behind the mirror. This is why the image formed is virtual. The focal length of an optical system measures how strongly it converges or diverges light. Thus, both A and R are true, and R is not the correct explanation of A. Assertion is, if the lions are removed from a food chain, it will not affect the food chain. However, if the plants are removed from a food chain, it will disturb the ecosystem. Reason, plants are producers who can make food using sunlight, while lions are consumers. While lions are consumers and removing them would not completely collapse the food chain, their absence as apex predators could lead to an overpopulation of herbivores, which could then overgraze plants, disrupting the balance. Removing producers like plants from a food chain has a much more drastic impact than removing consumers like lions because they are the foundation of the ecosystem. Thus, clearly, assertion is false but reason is true.